All right, guys. Thank you for stepping into another episode of Rock Solid Spotlight. We got my guy Steven in the building. I saw this man dropping some bombs on Instagram. He's amazing in the real estate space. He's a mortgage lender, and I think he can definitely bring some value today to you guys. If you're looking for a house or looking to know more about that industry, that niche, then Steven's gonna drop the major bombs today to get you guys going. What's going on, baby?
Not much, Rock, man. Living the dream, like you mentioned, enjoying every day.
Enjoying it. All right, man. But listen, I definitely appreciate you for coming on, man. I definitely want to learn more, and I'm sure the people want to know more about you. Before we get into like the nitty gritty of it, right? Tell us your story. What got you in this field to begin with, man?
Man, so I actually got into this field because I was trying to be a financial planner out of college. So I was literally, I got my I got my license for life insurance. Was starting to work on my license 63, the six. So I was getting the whole nine, becoming a financial advisor. And as I'm learning everything on financial products, the company I worked for, like more financial companies, they always offered basically the same products. Close my door. Sorry. They always offered the same products for somebody who was, 22, 25 years old to somebody who's 45 years old. But the risk assessment was a little bit different, right? So if you wanted to invest a little bit stronger or invest a little bit more conservative, but that kind of struck me as wrong because not everyone's the same. Not everyone's financial goals are the same. So that kind of irked me a little bit. And of course, I started searching for answers. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, you should also look at mortgages because that's part of your financial, umbrella. So I was like, all right, well, let me learn that a little bit too. So I was trying to be a jack of all trades in the financial realm. Anyways, I started working for a retail bank, learning mortgages just because I wanted to learn it. And I just fell in love with that because it's just black and white. I mean, numbers don't lie. It's kind of like what your goals are for, hey, I want to pay this much a month. I have this much for a down payment, and this is what you can afford to buy. It's like the same products for almost everyone, right? There's only so many products to choose from. But if you're a veteran, you have the one type of loan for yourself, right? If you're a first-time home buyer, you have one type of loan for yourself. If you have some money to play with and you want to do something else, you have like what's called a conventional type of financing, right? So that to me was just, I guess you could say, easier, or in a sense, a lot more fun because everyone's financial blueprint is going to be different and their goals for a house is going to be different, but they can all fit into certain categories. And I just got to put the puzzle pieces together. So I fell in love with it.
Beautiful. So for all those who don't know, man, mortgage lenders, they the ones that make sure you get in your dream house. Like the real estate agents, they show you, but these guys make sure you get that cash. You make sure you can get that loan to begin with. Yeah, you can go to a traditional bank, but people like Steven really make sure you get where you need to go.
You know what's funny is, Rock, so don't mean to interrupt you, but I call because you mentioned that realtors, I call realtors Disneyland, and then I'm the dentist.
Exactly right, and that is a very fair comparison because when you look on social media, and we've interviewed real estate agents on our podcast before, they show you the houses,
Yep.
they show you the dream, right? But
Yep.
now you come in like, all right, well, to get this dream, you're gonna have to pull this, do this root
Yep.
canal, pull this tooth back here. We're gonna make it uncomfortable for you. So
Yep.
I definitely feel that, man. So listen, what are some things? Let's say someone's looking to get a home,
Mhm.
someone's looking to really and it got to be a big family. Let's say someone's trying to get their very first home. What
Right.
are some very basic things they need to do in order to get that done? Like there's a bunch of stuff on the internet, but I want to
Yeah.
hear from the guy that's in charge of the money. What do they got to do to get it?
Honestly, the very first thing or the advice I can give people is number one thing is just sit down with a financial person, right? Like sit down with a lender. And I know it's most people don't want to do it because they're scared or they're timid about it, or they don't really want to open that veil to see what their finances, right? But just first of all, just sit with a loan officer and they're actually going to tell you exactly what needs to be done in order for you to get approved for that house. If you want to get an idea yourself, like I'm gonna do this like I do with all my clients. I'm gonna give you the formula, right? So if you don't want to see one of us just yet, and you want to be like, you know what, before I see one of you guys that you're gonna pull my credit, and you're going to do all this. I'd rather just know myself if what's possible on my own. So I'm going to give you the formula. You take what's called a debt to income ratio. All banks look at debt to income ratios. The debt that we look at is we look at your monthly obligation of what's going to be on your credit report, your credit cards, your car payments, your student loans, anything of that nature, right? That will be reported on your credit report. Not the stuff that you report, like the self-reporting, like utilities and things like that. Don't count that. And then you take that amount, and then you say to yourself, to you and your wife or husband, and say, hey, what do we want to pay on a monthly basis? Let's say you want to pay $2,500 a month. So you take the $2,500 that you want to pay on the house, plus whatever debt you have. Let's say it's $1,000 a month. So now it's $3,500, your overall debt, right? You divide that by your gross income. So whatever your income is on a year, say your salary is, $10,000 a month. So you take $3,500 divided by that $10,000 that you make on a monthly basis. That will give you a percentage. That percentage is your debt to income ratio. I just gave you guys literally the blueprint of you pre-approving yourself without me.
Listen, if y'all need to rewind this back, get the pen out, get the type, whatever you do, voicemail to yourself, whatever you need to do. Because I didn't even know that. Like, I know, you hear about debt to income, but I didn't know exactly how it was calculated. So you just literally just gave a major bomb right there. So
I honestly, when clients will ask me, hey, I want to get pre-approved, but I don't want to pull my credit, things of that nature. I'm the type of lender that and this is how I've been always with my life, because I like everything as an open book, right? Just be upfront with me, be straight. Don't try to like sugarcoat shit with me. Just be upfront. So I literally tell everybody how to do everything. And from there, when they do it themselves, they come back to me and they're like, hey, I calculated this as this. I think I'm ready to get pre-approved. Can you do it to make sure I did it right? And then I'll pre-approve them and I'm like, yeah, you were pretty spot on. So
got you.
And then the last thing to do is look at a credit report. Like, you can get a free credit report at freecreditreport.com. Look at your credit scores. Don't always go off of Credit Karma, because Credit Karma, believe it or not, it's very, very skewed. Credit Karma could say you have a 720. In reality, when we pull your credit from 3 credit bureaus, you may only have like a 680 or 670. It's very weird the way Credit Karma does their stuff.
Gotcha. Again, these are some very helpful tips, man. Everybody swears about Credit Karma. That's because it's free, right? So of course, that's the one you can look in real quick to check your stuff. But if you're telling me it's off by 30, 40 points, then yay.
I've had clients where they'll say, oh yeah, man, I got a 680, my Credit Karma. And as soon as I hear Credit Karma, I'm like, okay. So I'll pull up their credit and, and it's not bad because they still have a 650 or 660, something like that, But when I have clients that call me and say, oh yeah, my Credit Karma says I'm in the low 600s, like 600, 610. I already know off the top of my head, you probably have a 580 or 570.
Gotcha. And that's major, because we've had some credit people up here too. So by now, if you've watched the previous episodes, y'all should know how to tighten up some of those things. And what I realized, even in my personal life, like, your credit's very important. Yeah. But it can always be fixed. So I want people to think, like, if you mess up your credit, you're doomed. You can never get a house. You just got to get it fixed. Get it fixed as much as possible, quickly as possible. Not sounds say quickly, because sometimes it can be a long process. But make sure you're working with the right professionals, or do it yourself.
Yeah. And honestly, to fix credit, which I also involved myself in that, because obviously I see a lot of credit scores. So I learned a lot about credit. I went to credit agencies, asked them a whole bunch of questions. I'll give you another tidbit. If you have a credit card, and let's say you have a limit of $1,000, right? What do most people like to do? Or what are we told? We can don't spend more than 30 or 50%, right? Because you'll be okay if you spend 30% or 50% of the limit. In reality, the magic number is 7%. You do not want to spend more than 7% of that limit. If you spend, I would say 7 to 10%. But if you spend more than that, and the credit card reports to the bureaus, your score will literally start to fall little by little. And it's because they don't want you to go open up more credit card debt to pay off this credit card debt. It's like borrow from, Pete to pay Uncle Sam or to pay Sam type of thing. So if you keep your limits down to 10% or less, your credit scores are just going to go up and up and up and up every month.
Man, another gem. Everyone talks about utilization, but I've consistently heard that 30% was that number.
Nah, so, man, I literally called all 3 credit bureaus. I called Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. And another thing they told me, which if you really want to game your credit, I have a video on my Instagram on how to game credit. But if you really, really want to get technical, your credit card companies, basically, they report to the credit bureaus literally like 7 to 10 days before your bill comes out. So let's say your bill is due on the 10th. They'll report like on the 2nd or the 1st of that month as to what your balance is. So they're reporting to the bureaus what your balance is before you even see your balance coming into the mail. And then your score is already skewed by then. So if you really want to play the game, you call your credit card company and say, hey, by chance, can you tell me when you report this credit card balance to the agencies? And they'll tell you, oh yeah, your bill is due on the 15th, but we report it on the 7th or 8th. And then by knowing that, if you want, you can literally max out your credit card every single month. And when it gets close to the time of that they're going to report, you pay it down to 7% or pay it off completely. So by the time they report the new balance and your credit score just keeps improving.
So listen, y'all heard it here, man. This is the rapid fire gems, man. He just dropped 3 big ones. He told y'all how to calculate your debt to income, right? Then he told you about what's the other one they just said?
I did debt to income ratio. I did basically how to look at your credit scores with Credit Karma, and then how to kind of fix your credit if you wanted to do it yourself or if you want to play with your credit.
Listen, if I had a pen, I'd write it down myself. But thankfully, we recording, so we're good to go. But listen, these are some major gems. We definitely appreciate you for that. Now let's shift into like the mindset. So doing what you do. Let's say we have someone interested in becoming like a mortgage lender, loan officer, something like that. What is the right mindset for them, and what are kind of your mindset tips in entrepreneurship just in general?
I'll give you the same advice I give almost every lender. So I'm in charge of about 50 loan officers, right? I train a lot of loan officers that come through our company. And when I sit down with them, when we're hiring them, I tell them all the same thing. If you're in this and you think it's like a quick buck or a get rich, scheme or get rich quick type of ordeal, it's the wrong industry for you, man. You guys see basically all, like with realtors too, you see all the the rich, the glamour, especially because, realtors, they drive those fancy cars and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So you see all the glamour to it, but you don't see the hard work that it really, really, really takes. And loans on top of that is even harder because loans take a lot of your time. They're basically, every single loan is a puzzle. So if you are good with puzzles, you're good with numbers or finances, and you want to learn that kind of stuff, you're self-driven, self-motivated, and you know that you're going to fail several times before you succeed, then you can give it a go, right? But I'm gonna give you a quote that someone gave me, and I basically have it up on my wall. So failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. And in this game, you will fail many times over. Like you will go several months where you might not make a single paycheck. It takes a lot of grit and grind to try to get clients or realtors to use your services.
Right. And I think that's important. It's important you say that it's a grind, that things take time. I think now people are more, they want it quick, right? They want to be able to tap into an industry, put up a post, get 1 million views, hopefully get thousands of people knocking at their door, be swimming in money by the next month. And that's just not reality. So in order for you to talk about that quote, like failure is almost literally a requirement of success. Like in order for you to be successful, you got to go through that mud. You have to go through those hard times. because it'll teach you how to navigate through it. And then that way you'll be a stronger entrepreneur. You know, if you don't have a business, stronger working professional, whatever that may be, you have to learn those skills, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
it's definitely non-negotiable. So listen, man, while we're talking about mindset, what is kind of your routine? Like you said, you manage 50 other 50 other people, right? So I know that can't be easy. What are some things you do to prepare yourself physically, mentally, to kind of get through the day and really tap in and bring the most out of these people?
So every morning, to be honest with you, and you should do this in all walks of life, but every morning I wake up and I just think gratitude, right? One, first, I thank my Lord and Savior to say that I woke up, right? Don't mean to be religious, but I just basically say thank you for waking up today. So I just wake up with gratitude. I think having a beautiful family, my wife and my kid. And then from there, I just start to meditate. I'll meditate for maybe about a good 10 minutes just to get myself in the mindset of what I'm about to get myself into for the rest of the day. And then I'll go work out, just quick 30, 45 minutes workout, come back home, shower, start to get ready. And then I get home I get to the office typically by 8:30 in the morning. I look at any emails that I need to get to and just literally start to prepare myself mentally for what is about to come through my door. Because I'm going to have about 50 loan officers coming at me. I'm going to have, I don't know how many agents calling me left and right. I'm going to have thousands of emails on a daily basis. So I just got to make sure that I decompartmentalize everything that's going to go through every single day.
Got you. And I can relate to that. Before I started my own business, I was an operations man. I was a general manager for a flooring company. And so the job was send people out, send installers out on jobs, have sales reps pitch apartment complexes and new construction for them to do our floors. So, of course, managing the sales, managing the operations, managing the actual installers, and kind of seeing where those pieces are. So it's a lot of and a lot of it's actually personality juggling, right?
Yeah.
Knowing who you can talk to, who you can get the most out of. Because I've never been a big fan of the type of people who just, I'm going to be that stickler every single time with every single person. You don't get to rise out everybody the same way. So you kind of have to finagle and know who your client or your personnel is to bring the best out of them so they can be successful.
Yeah. And that's true. It's just, you have to learn how to juggle personalities, and that's always hard. And, again, if you want to be a loan officer, and realtors talk about this all the time, like realtors say, oh, my job title is not only realtor, it's psychiatrist, is chauffeur, it's all kinds of titles, right? Well, us lenders, it's the same thing. Like, we're psychiatrists, we're people that, we have to consult realtors, escrow companies, listing agents, and the client. So imagine we have that many personalities to deal with in one transaction. It can become overwhelming, right? So you have to make sure that you're in the right mindset and you're always positive and calm. So that way, in case something hits the fan or shit hits the fan on something, you don't freak out to where you freak out the client or the realtors in the process. Right? You have to stay of calm mind and figure out the puzzle pieces so that way you can fix anything you might need to fix.
Right. I couldn't agree more. So tell me about the situation where it's like, man, it looked real bad for maybe a client. Like, you didn't know if you can really get them the result. And tell us a little bit about that experience and if you were able to kind of get them where they needed to go by the end of it.
Yeah. So I have one client that I won't forget. So this client, this listing agent came to me with a client that I guess their lender was having a hard time or was getting the runaround with, right? And it was what's called a non-QM loan or non-qualifying type mortgage. And what that is basically you're not looking for traditional type financing. You're doing bank statement loans to where you're not showing your income through W-2s or pay stubs or tax returns. You're using bank statements or things of that nature, right? So this one was a bank statement loan. The lady was self-employed and they told the listing agent, hey, she qualifies for this $1 million property, no problem. She's putting down 20%, blah, blah, blah. So the listing agent accepted the offer. About 2.5 weeks in, he calls me and he's like, hey, I'm getting the runaround. They're not really telling me anything. Can you find out what's going on? And only because he's heard of me, because one of his partners uses me all the time and was like, hey, try calling Steven. He's really good at saving deals. So I got on the phone with the listing agent. Hey, what's going on? He told me the story. Then I call that loan officer, and that loan officer is like, hey, they don't qualify. I don't know how I messed up on this, but we don't qualify. We can't fix this. And I was like, okay, well, if you're okay, let me take over, right? Give me the client. Let me talk to the client. Give me everything, and I'll figure it out from there. So I talked to the client, self-employed, gives me all her bank statements. Her income was only a certain amount to qualify her for about $700,000-800,000, right? Not $1 million. So I saw that, but it was an easy fix because you're self-employed. You can deposit whatever you want into your bank statements, and I can use that as income. So she had some jobs that were about to close here in the next 2 months. So what I did is I told the listing agent, hey, you're going to have to give me extra time, because what needs to happen is she needs to deposit this much more money into her bank account this next month or this next 2 months, so that I can average out the last 12 months and get her the income she needs. So the listing agent was like, are you sure that's going to work? And I was like, yes, but you need to tell the sellers they have to be patient. And so they were like, all right, okay, let's try that. Anyways, I took over, told the client, hey, deposit all this money. Needless to say, I got 2 more months bank statements. She had the income correct. I basically got it through. The client was stressed out because she didn't know if she was going to qualify. I did the 12 months bank statements, put it together, showed the new income, and we ended up closing the transaction. Transaction did close late, right? But it closed and everybody was happy.
Wow. See that, man? You boys, hey, you worked your magic on that one, didn't you?
Yeah, and trust me, that was a very stressful transaction because the listing agent was getting upset, the buyer's agent was getting upset, the client, the buyer was getting upset, the sellers were getting upset, and the whole time I was the one remaining calm through everything and saying, hey, don't worry, it's gonna get done. It's gonna get done. I mean, to tell you the truth, the listing agent was so upset. I was in Miami at the time, working on some loan officers out there, and he called me and he was just like pissed. Hey, I thought you said this was going to close like sometime soon. Like, what's going on? And I was like, hey, I still need this much time. Like, I told you that from the beginning. He's like, yeah, but no, this is ridiculous. Like, what the, like cursing me out and everything.
Wow.
I heard from another agent in the office that he was going around saying how much I sucked, how I was horrible, how, my reputation didn't precede me type of thing. Like, just blowing the whole nine. And I heard that in Miami and I got a little upset, and I called him and I'm like, you have the nerve to talk about me when I'm not there. I was like, that takes some nerve. I was like, so when I come back to San Diego, I was like, I think we should have a sit down. Anyways, I come back to San Diego. As I'm coming back, the transaction's closing and it closes. I come back to him and I'm like, so what was all this you were saying? And he was like, man, I'm so sorry. I was so upset that I literally went to his office. I made him stand in front of all the realtors in his office and apologize, because he was, a lot of those realtors work with me and they were like, that doesn't sound like Steven. Like, what's going on? And so he literally stood in front of all the realtors and he was like, man, I apologize. It was just, I was under a lot of stress from the sellers. I acted out of character. Steven is awesome. He's great. And the part I didn't like, he was like, if you have any loans that have any issues or problems, that's the guy. And I was like, no, don't say that.
Don't say all that.
Yeah. I was like, don't say that. Everybody's going to send me like trouble.
Right. But you know what? That all stems back from the reason why I asked that question is because that shows how strong, the power of the mind can be in the mindset. Because everybody, business and life, things are going to hit the fan. They're going to. How you deal with that and how you approach problems in a calm way is going to let you know if you built for it or not.
Yeah.
So instead of you running around stressing out, getting mad, you knew the blueprint. You knew the problem. Like, okay, if I know it needs to get done, I have enough confidence in myself. I'm not about to stress out. Y'all can stress out. I got this because I know me. And so everyone listening to this, you're gonna have those moments where you might have a client that's pissed off. You might have, people around you that are pissed. Take a cue from a man, Steven. Calm down, get the job done, and everything will be good.
At the end of the day, a mentor of mine always told me, and this is words that I live by right now on every transaction I ever do: no one's gonna die, right? Nobody's dying. Nobody's gonna die. It'll get done when it gets done, right? Now, obviously, I achieve to get it done early or on time, right? Because when you're buying a house, there's escrow and there's certain dates that you have to live by for the real estate side, contingency dates. So I meet them all, but every now and then in a blue moon, you'll run into a client that is, I don't want to say the client, but maybe they're not prepared with all their paperwork, right? Or they struggle getting the things to you accurately. So we have to ask for more things from them because they're just piece giving us stuff. They're not giving everything fully. So it makes the transaction go a little longer. And then, people might get frustrated, but I always tell lenders, nobody's going to die. Calm down. If shit hits the fan, that's fine. Just be calm and look at it and see how it can be fixed, right? No need to blow up on your processors, the realtors, the clients. Just sit back, relax. How can I fix this? What can be done so that I can fix this, so that I can make everyone happy, so that everyone can go about their day? The clients get their home, their dream home, the realtors get paid, and everybody walks away happy. Just stay calm. And as long as you stay calm in this industry, look at me, I'm 18 years into it. I got to go get a haircut and shave today because I'm looking a little scruffy today, but people, you wouldn't believe Rock, take a guess at how old I am.
How old are you? Says guess. I would say maybe 20, 26, 27, maybe.
Nah, so I get typically like 33, 34. I'm 42 years old, man.
Oh, hey man, you're still keeping it clean, still fresh, man. Still,
Yeah. And of course, if I went to see my barber this morning, I would have been looking better for you. But no, I'm 42 years old, and everybody's always complimenting me, like, hey man, you look so young. And yes, one of it is genetics, but two is because I just don't stress. I try not to stress because stress is the number one killer in this world. And if you can learn as an entrepreneur, whatever you do in your business, not to stress and just be calm and learn to do the things you need to do to get stuff done, you will live a longer, healthier life.
Right on. So, hey, you heard it here, folks. Steven came through and dropped the word winner stuff, an amazing story, and he's delivered. So if somebody needs to get in contact with you, if somebody needs to tap in where they want to learn more and, actually become a loan officer, or they're looking to get a deal done or work with you directly, where can they get in contact with you? How can they find you?
So the easiest way is just my Instagram. It's at easy.mortgages. That's my handle. You can look it up. I'm working on trying to get the handle The Loan Father, which is my trademark logo. But until then, it's easy.mortgages, or, people can reach me out in email. My email's kind of long, but I'll give that to you, Rock, if you want to put it up for them.
Yeah, everything's going to be down in the description below so everybody can grab.
Yeah, but the easiest route is honestly just DMing me on my Instagram, and then I always respond.
Awesome. Listen, any final words for the people today, man, before we close this thing on out?
Everyone should be a homeowner. I don't care what walk of life you're in or anything, but you should have a part of the American dream in all reality. So you need to own a home, whether it be 2 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever your goal is. Do look at buying a home, because you paying rent, you're basically making someone else wealthy and someone else rich. It's important that you create your wealth for your next generation. If you have kids, or you plan on having kids, or whatever your future looks like, own a piece of the American dream.
Awesome. Well, listen, you heard it here. Listen, Steven, thanks again for your time. Thanks again for dropping this value. We appreciate it. Rockstars, make sure you check out the description so you can get his IG, his email information, and tap into him So because obviously he's working magic. Obviously he's good at what he does. You heard it here first. So make sure you guys tap in. And again, it's Rock. Love y'all. See y'all in the next one.
Thank you, Rock.
All right.